Hey guys, my name's Jack, and in this special Antco episode, I'll be uncovering the secret lives of an insect that we all know and love, ants. Over the course of this documentary, I will go over multiple aspects of an ant's life, ranging from the lives they lead inside their vast communities, to the impacts they have outside of their own civilizations. Due to their size and reputation as pests, these remarkable insects are often overlooked, but when their secret lives are revealed, it is so much easier to appreciate them for what they really are. In this first section, I'll be unveiling an aspect of the ant's secret lives that is normally invisible to our everyday lives: their social structures. The ants you see outside swarming a dropped lolly or tackling a dying spider are normally the lowest ranking and most expendable individuals called workers. They do all the jobs that require manual labor, including defending the colony, hunting for prey, foraging for food, feeding the young, and tending to the queen. This cast is produced by the thousands by the queens of mature colonies, and normally the death of these workers do not have any negative effects on the colony as a whole. The soldiers, however, are slightly more valuable, as they are larger than the minor workers and require more resources to raise. They are the ants that protect the colony from physical threats, like other ant and termite colonies. However, some species of ant don't have this caste, and instead, all workers are armed and can defend the colony if there's ever a need. Then there are the Alates. These are winged ants that are only produced in certain seasons during the year, and consist of male drones, whose only purpose in life is to mate, and female princesses, who will later mate with drones from foreign colonies and start their own empires. They are larger and more valuable than the soldiers or workers, and will be guarded by the workers at all costs. But the most important of all ants in a nest is the queen, the mother to all the workers, soldiers, and Alates. She is the only ant in the colony that has the power to lay eggs and produce new generations of workers, and without her, new ants cannot be born, and the colony will slowly perish. She is also the sole founder of the colony, but more on that in another section. Finally, there is the brood. They aren't exactly a caste of their own, as these are baby ants that will develop into workers, soldiers, and rarely, Alates. There are 3 different stages of brood growth. The youngest are the eggs, which are basically ant newborns. They are laid by the queen and are normally laid in batches, the size of which varies depending on the ant species, and generally, size. The second stage is the larvae, which are eggs that have hatched. They vary in size depending on their age, and is the only brood stage that requires food. In this stage, they are fed all the protein they need to grow into adult workers, and will not consume any protein for their own growth in any other stage. Finally, there's the pupal stage, where the larvae either spin cocoons or develop into bare pupae. They will metamorphosize, much like how a caterpillar turns into a cocoon, and will emerge in a few weeks as adult ants. In this second section, I will be talking about their reproduction. This aspect of an ant's life is unknown to most people and may surprise some. See the ant in the footage? Well, she is actually an ant queen, and the focus of this next section. Most people would wonder, why would an ant queen be all alone outside of her colony? Well, actually, she has no colony. She was born in a mature colony as a winged female Alate, alongside many other Alates, all waiting for special occasion called the Nuptial flight. These flights occur after rainstorms, and generally on hot sunny days, in which male and female Alates from colonies all over swarm in a massive mating frenzy, where each female Alate mates with anywhere between 1 and 5 males. The males then die, and the females, like this one, then scratch off their now useless wings. For our specific ant, she flew on a hot sunny spring day right after 4 full days of rain, and along with her would have flown hundreds of other newly mated queens, all looking for a new home, though I couldn't find many others. Most of these queens would be unsuccessful in finding a suitable nesting space or digging a founding chamber, scientifically known as a claustral cell, and will fall prey to mammals, predatory insects, and even other ants. However, the lucky queens that do manage to dig a nest are in for a long and boring wait. Inside her new and tiny home, our queen is patiently tending to her batch of eggs. She will be stuck with them as her only company for a long time, while the eggs slowly develop into larvae, pupae, and eventually tiny first-generation workers. After a whole month of not coming out to eat, drink, or even get some breathing room, she will finally have her first helpers, and her life will be made a whole lot easier. These tiny ants will soon leave the founding chamber and explore the brave new world, foraging for something to feed their starving mother. Our queen's life depends on them, and if they are unable to find food or are killed, then the whole colony will starve and die. Luckily, while I'm here, they will never run out of food and water, and can forage in their safe little test tube without any risk. But not all founding queens are this lucky, and in the wild, only 1 in 1,000 young queens live past this stage, unlike the 1 in 4 chance of survival in captivity. But gradually, the queen will lay more and more eggs, and her colony will grow at a faster and faster rate. And after approximately a year, she will become a superpower in her neighborhood, with over 1,000 workers and much more on the way. As for us keepers, it is generally really hard to raise a colony to this size, especially for this species, as their numbers tend to spiral out of control and we have to resort to either releasing them or selling them off. I, however, have never managed to raise anything like this, as I have always either sold off my best ones or did one little thing wrong and killed my whole colony. Fast forward another year, and this empire would be reaching the 10,000 population mark. They are now practically an immortal empire, all of which is under control from the same queen that founded the colony 2 years back. The only way that this colony could die is from a colony-wide pandemic, or if the queen dies from whatever cause. If this queen remains healthy, she could live up to 8 years and produce millions of workers and tens of thousands of new queens over her lifetime. But for our queen, she still has a long way to go. So far, we have talked about the ants' lives inside their empires and how the empires themselves are made. But their impacts on the environment stretch far more than just their own territory. In fact, without these tiny, hard-working insects, the whole ecosystem could crumble. In this final section, I'll be showing you the roles of ants in the wild. One of the most obvious roles that all species of ants play in the wild is aerating the soil. Much like earthworms, they make tunnels in the dirt that let air and water in, allowing plant roots to breathe and grow faster and healthier. They also clean up the environment by eating dead insects. Some specific genuses of ants have their own unique functions as well. Take the big-headed ant, for example, also known as the harvester ant. These ants like to forage for seeds and bring them back to the nest. There, they feed the seeds extremely nutritious elaiosomes to their hungry larvae, and then dump the rest of the seed in the colony's trash pile. That seed will then sprout and turn into a healthy plant. Overall, ants are much more than what meets the eye. When we examine their secret lives, we discover that they are amazing and complex creatures that do not deserve the bad reputation, and that without them, our whole planet could collapse. Thanks for watching this documentary, brought to you by Antco.